Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to another edition of On Point for today, Friday, the 11th day of August 2023. And of course, my name is Alexis Jeffers, and I'm so happy to be here this afternoon. I've been coming here for some time, and I keep coming, and I keep repeating the same thing that I've been coming here, but we're still a young show, and of course, it is always a pleasure to come and speak to the people of Nevis, the people of the Federation, and the people who are all over the world who are listening to Von Radio. This afternoon, I want to start by, of course, saying hello and greet persons here in Nevis who are having their lunch at this time. I myself choose to come here and spend my lunch hour here with you. So while you're eating, hopefully I can add to the taste of your lunch, maybe make it a bit more embellishing, hopefully. Persons down in St. Kitts, of course, might be listening as well too. Not might be, should be listening, because this show is now a household, well, the word is out, and the entire household these days know about On Point. Of course, we want to shout up our family members and friends down there in Statia, Sabre, St. Martin, French and Dutch, Puerto Rico, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Of course, we have persons who are listening throughout the United States, the eastern seaboard, all the way across the west. They're in California and up in the northwest, which is Washington State, Oregon, and those states that are up the northwestern flank of the United States. Indeed, we know we have persons listening in Canada as well. I want to say good afternoon to all of you who are listening to Von Radio and this program at this time. And we go up to the United Kingdom, the whole of Europe, all of you who are listening there, good afternoon to you. And indeed, of course, in Asia and those places, they're probably, in most parts, are early morning, 1 o'clock, thereabout in the morning. I say good morning to you if you're up and listening. Well, of course, we're here this afternoon. This is like the aftermath of the Culturama festivities. Culturama ended on Tuesday of this week. And indeed, there are mixed reviews regarding Culturama. When it's all said and done, as I've always said, any fete, any frolic, any activity is as good as we will make it as a people, meaning we have to all join in. And when there's an activity being held anyway, go out and support. Some will say they were not feeling the vibes. Well, I suppose everyone have different, feelings regarding everything. But I want to say to you that by and large, I have come across persons who said they had a wonderful time. Those are those who went out and made sure they had a great time. And I want to thank everyone, whether you enjoyed it or not. Thank you for coming, thank you for participating, and thank you for showing the interest. Some of the shows, of course, would have had mixed reviews. Some were good, and some were indifferent, I suppose. But that is the nature of it all. It is a learning experience for everyone, and hopefully all of the reviews that have been given up to this point in time will be taken on board, and of course start to frame and start to plan and try to execute something that is much better for Culturama 50. Indeed, not every Culturama we have experienced up to the 49th was great. Some were good, some were not so good. And indeed, over the years, persons have tried to, make the necessary changes and adjustments. So that, I believe, will be done for the Culturama 50. I want to commend all of the persons who would have worked tirelessly to ensure that this festival was executed. And I want to also say that from what I gather, the requests have been put out already for slogan for Culturama 50. So I will think that the emphasis now is to get things rolling early. And if, for example, a request have been put out for the slogan for Culturama 50, at this point in time, immediately after Culturama 49, it tells me that there are serious plans afoot to ensure that Culturama 50 is a memorable one, an excellent experience, and one where the entire Nevisian community abroad and visitors would want to come home to Nevis or come to Nevis for a visit to experience Culturama 50. I am hoping that the Lord spares my life to be around as well to be a part of that, because it will be one of a difference. A really good one, I'm hoping. We did an excellent job in 2014 for the 40th anniversary, and indeed we went out. I was a member of the NIA at that time, and I know we went all out to ensure that it was somewhat of a homecoming party, so to speak. And persons did come home, persons did have fun. And I believe the experience there is one that can be duplicated and even made better, surpassed, and even take it to a level for the 50 that we have never experienced before. So that being said, let's look forward to that. I want to, at this point in time, I'll speak some more about Culturama, because we have to speak about the activity that I was pushing so much over the last couple of weeks, the Herbert Beach affair. But I would have to thank all of those persons who would have participated, sponsored, and played a part in bringing about its success and reality over the August Monday period. But at this point in time, I want to just express birthday greetings to my very good friend there, Hilly Liburn. Hilly, happy birthday to you. I know you don't want me to say what your age is and everything, and I won't say it either. You were good enough to tell me, and I'm telling you that you don't look anywhere close to what you told me. But I want to say to you that we want to join in the celebration with you today, and we want to express it in such a way that we can do so again next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. So what I'm saying, I hope you'll have long life and happiness until such time. But at this time, for sure, enjoy the rest of this month. They normally say you celebrate a day. Some people celebrate a whole week. Some will celebrate an entire month. I think you have earned the right to celebrate for the rest of this month, August. So you'll see me at some point, and I'll come by, yes, and bring you what I have. It's a little this much, so whatever I bring, it will be from the heart, yeah? Okay, Haley, enjoy the rest of the day. I want to also say at this point in time as well that we've been talking about the convention of the Concerned Citizens Movement over the past couple of weeks. That convention will be held on Sunday, the 13th of August, and that will be held down there at the NIPAC, the Nevis Performing Arts Center. Now, we start at 2 p.m. That will be the business session. It goes until just about 4 p.m. The business session is for delegates who will be invited to that particular segment or section that will be held at 2 p.m., where party business and the overall election of officers who would guide the party for the next year or two. And then at 4 p.m. will be the open session where every and anyone would be welcome to be a part of that rally. It's almost like a rally, yes. There'll be some speeches, some presentations, but of course the serious part of it starts at 2 p.m. where we'll have party business being attended to and discussed, and then at 4 p.m. the entire floor will be open to all. So I'm welcoming all and sundry to come at 4 p.m. Those who will come at 2 will receive your invitations, but I want us all to be there for 4 p.m. All of you who did not get the invitation to the 2 p.m. session, come out at 4 p.m. and we'll have a good time down there at NIPAC. There'll be music. I believe the Regal Band will be there in the courtyard to play after the speeches and everything. Of course, there'll be refreshments, and indeed there'll be different presentations made through the program that starts at 4 p.m. So I want the whole of Nevis, if you're a CCM, come. If you're an NRP, come and hear what CCM has to say. If you are not aligned in any way, still come. I believe the seating capacity down there is about 400. So if 400 persons can make it there, we welcome one and all. And then, of course, there will be some refreshments thereafter. But indeed, we're hoping to have a wonderful time down there at NIPAC on Sunday, starting at 2 p.m. for the business session. And then at 4 p.m. would be the open segment for anyone who were not invited to the business session. So come on down and enjoy. I'll repeat that just before I get out of here at 2 o'clock. Back to the Herbert Beach affair. We had a wonderful time at Herbert Beach on Monday, the 7th of August. I did say that we were going to have a marvelous time over there. We were bringing back the greasy pole, even though not too many people wanted to get into the ocean. You know, I mean, we had it ready. A few guys would have taken the challenge. But of course, the bouncing castle was well utilized by the children who were there. Music was there, and food was there, drinks were there. The ambience was just right. So to get that all done in a way that it was such a success, there are a number of persons and institutions who would have played their part in terms of ensuring that we prepared and executed as well as we did. Now, Herbert Beach Affair have been around for the past 24 years. Started in 1997, and indeed, as I've said before, I myself have been intimately involved in spearheading it since 2003. So for the past 20 years, I've had a chance to go there, prepare the place, and welcome the world, so to speak, because you have Navisians who come, Kitishans who come, persons from the diaspora who comes home for culture, and also visitors who are on the island would come over and experience the Herbert Beach Affair. And I want to say that a lot of work goes into preparing that site for this event. So I want just to touch on the persons or acknowledge, the persons who would have contributed to the success of the Herbert Beach Affair. Of course, we have always had support from the Nevis Island administration. We thank them. The Culturama Committee, Grandson Trucking and Equipment Rental, and that is owned by George Chapman, who we would call Botai, along with his brother Asim. So that is their business, and they would have come and did some cleaning and clearing down there. We appreciate that very much. Burley Walwyn is our electrician, along with Davian Fraser and his team. They would come and set up all of the lighting, the bunting, make sure that the power is correct and everything for all of the booth owners who would want to bring along the deep fryers and so forth. So those bits of infrastructure were put in, the electrical infrastructure that is, was put in by Burley, Walwyn and Davian, along with the other guys who would work with them as well. The booths, of course, were constructed by Papa Stanley Williams and his team. I want to commend them because he do a marvelous job, a fantastic job. When he say he's ready to roll at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, he would start his work, and by the time you get around to Saturday evening into Sunday, he's already done. He normally would do a very good job. I want to thank him as well, and his team. The Navy Solid Waste Management Authority, of course, would provide the dumpster for the collection of garbage, of course. I want to thank Andrew Hendricks and his team, Latoya and so forth, for their effort to ensure that we keep the place clean, and that we always do. One Coco, and specifically Elson Williams, he's the one who normally would undertake the process of bringing those, what do you call them, those toilets. Yes, so Elson is the one who would take care of that. And I want to thank One Coco and his company for their effort as well. DJ Zimba, he is the host DJ there. House DJ, however you want to put it. He's the one who normally put all of the infrastructure in place. The musical side of it, he normally would do that along with his colleague and Darren Sutton. So I want to thank both of them, along with all of the other members of their teams who would have come along to ensure that those setup is done. That setup is done. Yeah, DJ Lalbo, DJ Wet Dot, of course, in terms of bands, Grandmasters and Small Acts. These are perennial bands that come there. They've been there for the 24 years, and they say if we have it for another 24, just call them and they'll be there. You know, Small Acts is the one who would have done many of the jingles that we have played here on Von Radio during the time of preparations for Herbert Beach Affair. And the thing is, those jingles can be played at any time. As a matter of fact, I don't think they have any time rubber stamp on them in terms of what period they can be played. You can play tomorrow morning, for that matter, or you can play next week, and it will still sound fresh. Yeah. So I want to thank Small X Band and Grandmasters for coming. The Honeybees String Band, they would have played for a period of time there on Monday. In terms of individuals, Amoy Nisbet, I want to thank him for his support this year. Terran Blues Wallace, I want to thank him as well. Dean Scarborough, and of course we had a bingo over there at Herbert Beach. It was the first time. Well, no one is going to hear me say what the results were, but it's nothing compared to what you see them putting out there. I see some numbers being put out there. Lord, I wish we had made that kind of money. I wish, because the whole idea was to put it on to give people a chance to win some money. People come to spend money. People come to make money in terms of the booths. And I said this year I want to give people a chance to win some money. But there were 3 winners, of course. And indeed, the bingo itself was one that went according to plan, albeit it could have been much better, but that's okay. I'm not too bothered about that. The bottom line is we were able to pay the winners, and they went home with their money the same night. And I want to thank them for participating. Also, in that regard, I want to thank Carol Rollins, who would have come along and did some of the selling. Chanel Skeet, and this young lady, I cannot recall her name. If she's listening, she know who she is. Those of you who were there during the day, and she may have, assisted you in getting your card. Her last name is Amory, the daughter of Jean Amory, but I just can't seem to recall her name. But if she's here, and I want to thank you for coming and lending your support to us in that regard. Thank you. And also the one and only DJ Woodis, who would have done the emceeing and calling out of the numbers and was lively about it. That is his forte. He does that on different occasions at different places. So he decided to come down to lend his support, and I want to thank you, DJ Woodis. Also, the stage that was there, that wonderful professional looking stage that was erected by Carl Tyson and his company. I want to thank them for coming out. I want to thank his crew who would have worked on the Saturday and on the Sunday, and of course they had to go back to disassemble the whole thing. So I want to thank them for their effort. I want to thank the Nevis Food Center and the owner there, Mr. David Kawaja, and of course the manager there, Mr. Ira Martin, for their contribution towards the Herbert Beach as well. In terms of the cleanup, we did some cleaning up on the Tuesday. Even though there were things floating around, I don't worry with foolishness, really, pure nonsense. You see, there are some Jammer Queens and some Jammer Kings here on the island of Nevis, and everything now. You have a cheap little phone, you go around and you take pictures and make a fool out of yourself. But I want to say that every year for the last 24 years, there was never an occasion on which Herbert Beach was left untidy. As a matter of fact, I will say to you that we have someone who goes to Herbert Beach every day. Fella Winky, everybody know Winky. He goes down and keep Herbert Beach as clean as possible. I want to thank Winky for his effort. But on the Tuesday we went there after the showers would have dissipated and cleaned up the beach, and it's lovely, spick and span over there right now. So I want to thank Kiris Liburn. I want to thank Botai who came. I want to thank Tobo. You all know Tobo Mills? Yeah. I think Tobo's correct name is what? Rical? I believe, yeah. But anyway, his name is Tobo. Monkey. Monkey's last name is Lewis, but I think he'll love to be called Monkey. Just like our partner Monkey there, who used to own the gas station over there at Cotton Ground. Some people like to be called by their nickname. Vaughn Fraser, I want to thank you for your effort as well. I also want to thank Danny Williams, for his effort on the day of the event. He would have come and tried to keep the dust down with some water. Thank you. I also want to thank all of the booth operators and all of the patrons who came down to support the entire event. Without you, without all of whom I'm talking about, but most of the patrons who came, without them, Herbert Beach Affair would not have been what it is or what it has been, because you need people to come to spend. to let off some cash down there so that the effort is worth it. Heinz Electrical Engineering, I want to thank you as well. We would have gotten the rental of a generator from him, and I want to thank him. Now, we had a contribution from Merla Liebert. She's someone who we normally will see on Facebook, and she was at the event. She said she was going to make a small contribution, and as they say, little is much, but she came and she lived up to her word, and she brought her contribution, and we want to thank you very much. I believe she would have journeyed back to the United States, so she got back safely. I want to wish her well, and obviously we were in her thoughts, and she brought and lived up to her words, brought that contribution to make sure that we can pay a small bill, I suppose. Yeah. So those are the persons, and anyone whose name I didn't call, I want to say that your effort was well received, and we appreciate it very much. We now look forward to the 25th edition next year. That, of course, will be wrapped up in the Culturama activities. So if we have a wonderful Culturama, equally we are hoping to have a wonderful Herbert Beach affair. We have some new plans, some new activities, and some new happenings that will be over there next year. And indeed, we look forward to that. We'll start planning early as well. But it is always my pleasure to ensure that this event comes off annually. As I've said before, once there's life in my body, once there's strength in my body as well, I certainly will make sure and ensure that Herbert Beach is held. And irrespective of what might be said, you know, some persons have been fighting with Herbert Beach since its inception in 1997. Some who were 35 years then are now 60 years old and still fighting with it. Some who were 40 are now 65 and still fighting with Herbert Beach affair. 25 years is what? Two decades and a half. 1 score plus 5. So 2 decades and a half people have been fighting with the Herbert Beach affair. I said before, we have had our challenges over there, and part of those, some of those challenges, are people just fighting down the event. The event is put on annually, not for the enrichment of myself, not for the enrichment of anyone, other than to ensure that there is an activity that is being held in the parish of St. James. It is being held to ensure that something comes to the north of the island. I am proud that we are able to bring an activity, a Culturama, something that is held during Culturama, up to the north of the island. Even in Trinidad, those of us who talk about Trinidad and we know how Trinidad goes, activities go all the way down to San Fernando. What the songs are going down San Fernando, down they got plenty tempo. Well, they just got things down San Fernando. In Port of Spain, down San Fernando, all over the place. So activities are held here, there, and everywhere for Culturama. One of those places is right up there in the north, in St. James. And I am proud that we continue to have that activity. And I am saying to the people of St. James that anyone who speaks out against this particular activity and who try to fight it, you should shun them. Shun them, because one of the things I want to say to you is that most of the boat owners or operators are from St. James. I don't have any restrictions in terms of who should come. Vendors, booth owners come from all over the island. But I give some preference to persons who are from St. James. Why? Those persons are not in Charlestown during the cultural activities with a booth to make money. So you give them a chance to make some money up there, and they do make some money. And I thank the people who would have come to spend money so that they can make. But the bottom line is, over the years you're hearing all of these negativity about Herbert Beach affair. And sometimes in life you just have to give up and move on. So those who have been fighting it for 25 years, I said it's time to just give up, move on, go and live your life. Go and live your life and enjoy what is left of your life, because we're going to continue having this event with the help of God and the strength that He provides us with. We're going to continue to have it so that people up in the north can enjoy the festival season by enjoying the music, enjoying the food, and making money. What is so wrong with that? So they can continue fighting, and we'll continue working and continue doing what is necessary. Because I said they've been fighting. Listen, In 2006, when the NRP took over governance in this island, it was July of 2006. I asked for assistance of the then Minister of Culture. I got none, but that's okay. We went about our business in anyway. Went around and asked for as much as I could. Help me here, help me there. And we put on the activity in 2006. 2007, more problems again. You know what they did? The Cultural Committee contracted all of the bands in the Federation, every single one of them, and put them down down Pinny's Beach. All of the DJs. If you had a little house set, they tell you bring it down to Pinny's. If you had a string band, bring it down to Pinny's. If you had a milk can, whatever tin pan you had, a drum pan, if oil drum, whatever you had, bring it down to Pinny's. They tied up every single bit of musical instrument, musical band, DJ, everybody, hi-fi down at Pinny's. I said, none going Hobart Beach. But you know what we did? We got a little house set, a little something. I want to thank my good friend up there in Fountain, Clyde Archibald. He had a little set, he brought it down. And we had that is what we used to play music down there. The following year, same pressure. But you know what we did? We put on a big event down there. We said, come and eat and drink for free. Come and eat and drink for free. So everybody could cook a pot, whether goat water, cook up roast pork, jerk pork, roast chicken, fried chicken, everything. Bring them down. Let's have a good time at Hobart Beach. That was us showing our resilience that we will never bend, buckle, nor bow to any pressure. Hobart Beach will be held. You know why? St. James is important to this island. The people of St. James are important. And when it's all said and done, we had such a marvelous time down there. The next year we came back with a bang. 2009. You know? And they came up with all kind of isms. They said we have to finish the show. Have to finish the event at 8 p.m. I said, what's this? You know, we've had this thing down there 12 to 12 to 12. But they cut us short. We didn't mind. We continued still. Then they put on some shows, international artist shows, bringing DJs and dancehall artists from Jamaica, from Timbuktu as well. Shut us down there at 8. Using government resources to put on these massive shows. And let them tell me a lie. Let them tell me that I'm lying. So all these things were orchestrated to kill Hobart Beach affair. So these big artists, and you know, when the dance can't pay for the light, they shut them down. And went on to other things. Then they put a show, this Caribbean show that they're talking about, which was held on a Thursday night. They put it on a Monday night. Just to shut down Hobart Beach as well. I keep telling them that show is a lovely show. I like the show. I've never been, because I ain't gonna leave Hobart Beach to go there. I've never been, but I would like to go. I tell them it would be nicer to have it on a Thursday night when everybody would get a chance to go. Because once people come to Hobart Beach and they're down there drinking and frolicking, you think they're leaving to go to the show? No. I believe when we invite all of these Caribbean ladies, beautiful ladies here, you want to put on the best show you can. This show is a good show. But it's on a night that is competing with Hobart Beach, and we're not going to shut down Hobart Beach at 8 o'clock again. As a matter of fact, I'd love to go back to the 12 to 12 to 12 scenario so that people can leave when they want to leave. If they want to stay, let them stay. That is Culturama. After Juve and you're in a, what do you call it, a celebratory mood, and you want to fit and frolic, you know, days where you come, clean and wholesome. But come. But anyway, they put on that show. And we still have our Hobart Beach going. Resilience all the way. It takes a lot out of us to ensure that we continue to press on over there, to make sure that activity continues. So it seems like this year they were hoping that it wouldn't be held, but that's okay. We're going to have it, and we're going to come bigger and better next year, God's willing. So the people of St. James, you must understand that you have a fighter in me, and I'll continue to fight for your cause. I've been doing so for a number of years, and once there's life in my body, I'll continue to fight. But speaking of Hobart Beach, it seems as though that has been the talk around these days. Everybody talking about Hobart Beach, all kind of negativities, negative things, but that's okay. Herbert Beach now belongs to the people of Nevis. The people of Nevis now own Herbert Beach, and I am telling you, every single day, Nevisians go down there, whether it's fishermen, whether it's livestock owners, whether it's sun seekers, persons going there for leisure time, or persons going there to exercise. Whatever it is, persons are going to Herbert Beach. Every single day, the traffic is going down. And you know, I want to speak about those lands, you know, because I have some time this afternoon. Spend some time on it. Because the NRP seem to be up in arms over the acquisition of those lands. 13.9 acres of lands. And I sit here this afternoon, and I said to you that I'm proud of the effort that I would have exerted then when we realized who was going to buy those lands. Let me back up and say that those lands were on the market for sale back in 2008. A gentleman would have paid down 10%. He didn't come up with, up to this day, he hasn't come up with the remaining money. The owner moved on. That same gentleman who paid down the 10%, I believe he was jailed in the United Kingdom for securities fraud or something like that. But that is beside the point. Yeah? Because the NRP always talking about fraud. But that gentleman was jailed in the United Kingdom. Put that aside. When we realize that there were plans afoot for those lands to be sold to Miss Bass, that's a land mogul who was around here, owned the top of Jessup heading over to Fountain, own a major chunk of properties over there in St. James, in the Libert Hill area and other areas in Nevis. When you realize that this lady was about to buy 13.9 acres of land, the only result of that was that she would have bought them and fenced it up, and the whole of St. James, the whole of Nevis, all of us would have been shut out of down there. So what is a good government supposed to do? Right thinking government, progressive thinking government, visionary government. Because you know what? Those lands are now part of our land stock as a government and as a people for years and generations to come. Not every piece of land in Nevis should be sold out by any government because you say you're attracting a development. If you search from, say, Pennies all the way up to Herbert Beach, look at those beachfront lands. Government hardly own anything in there other than the area called the pub, Roan's Pub, where Clatcherdale was, that piece of land next to it. You now have the water taxi facility area. You come up to where? Where else? Then you come to Herbert Beach. But most of those lands in between those 2 points, Pennies up to Herbert Beach area, they're privately owned beachfront lands. The beach is public, but those lands that are on the beach or close to the beach are privately owned. So it's just those 3 or 4 pieces of areas of land that we can say the people of Nevis own. We now own that beachfront property up there at Herbert Beach. Generations to come will go there and enjoy it because of the efforts of the concerned citizens movement in government. So when I realized what was happening, I said to the cabinet, I'll prepare the necessary submission and I'll bring it so that we can proceed with the acquisition of those lands. And when I think about it and all of the noise that is being made about the acquisition of those lands, the NRP, when they were in government, acquired 14 pieces of lands here on the island of Nevis. But here's the interesting thing. 14 pieces of land that were owned by poor people here on the island of Nevis. I say poor people because none of them were of any major financial, didn't have any major financial means in terms of millions. All of them were poor persons who may have gotten those lands handed down to them by their father, grandfather, grandmother, or some other family member. And they were hoping to hold on to those lands to pass on to their children, their grandchildren, and it goes down through the generations to come or the ages to come. Stays in the family. But you think NRP was worrying about that? They didn't care. They didn't care. They see you with your piece of land and they grudge you for your piece of land, they take it away. That's what they did. Go up to the top of Craddock Road, not Craddock Road, Government Road, in the vicinity of Club Chenim. I heard a lady call this radio station some years ago. God bless her soul, because I understand she's now deceased. And she would have gone to the great beyond with that on her chest, in her heart, that NRP came, took away their lands, and never compensated them. None out of the 14 landowners ever saw any compensation from the NRP. So you're going after poor people. You turn them from poor to paupers because you leave them without land. The only piece of land that the CCM ever acquired while I was in government from 2013 as the Minister of Lands was those same lands up there at Herbert Beach. So you acquire the poor people land. You say you're not paying them. I know you're making a song and dance about lands at Herbert Beach. We'll pay for those lands, you know. We're going to pay. And one thing for sure I can tell you is that they are now the lands that belong to the people of Nevis. And that is what I'm happy about. We didn't take it from non-division. We didn't take them from non-division. No poor division. You all should be ashamed of yourself, NRP, to be talking about any kind of acquisition in this island. When you all went down to Rest Haven, acquired a little piece of land down there, I believe it's about 1.5 acres, 2 acres of land. We're now on the hook for $25 million or more for it. Easy dollars. When one of your own men who does valuation came up with a valuation for mostly $350,000. Others came in at $4 million US. Chunk of money we got to be paying down there for a measly parcel of land. What is? Can't be no more than 2 acres of land. And you're talking about acquisition? You should be proud of CCM. And I'll tell you, the people of Nevis, this, you know, don't be fooled by an app, you know. We don't owe a soul any $79 million for anything. The federal parliament would have met and fixed a problem, a potential problem. And as far as I'm concerned, I want to thank Prime Minister Drew and his cabinet for agreeing to do so. We are now in a better position as we are as an island. Because if we were not able to save that $79 million in terms of us paying, that is a huge sum of money. But I can tell you, what the NRP are saying, they can continue to talk until tomorrow morning. We fought that, won an appeal, and that's where it's at right now as far as I'm concerned. But you see, it's not who make the most noise really talking the most sense, you know. Because all who are talking right now, I'm telling you, when they talk about people in the island of Nevis, all of them, as far as I'm concerned, are woven from the same thread. They don't care about nobody. They only care about themselves. All of them only angry, you know, because they were hoping to be in government today. They were hoping to be in government to collect a paycheck. It's not coming, so they're angry. And you're going to hear a lot more rhetoric coming from them that is not palatable for the airwaves. But it's up to you if you want to listen to them. You have a good government currently managing the affairs of Nevis. We have said that we have gotten a mandate to look after the people of Nevis and the affairs of the people of Nevis. Times are difficult, times are challenging, but we're going to continue to do what we're mandated to do, and that is to look after the people of Nevis. So they keep talking about me. Yes, I have a chance to talk now because I used to be more, consumed with government business and running the ministries that I was assigned to run. So now I have a program. I have a little program here that runs for about an hour. So I can talk. Because it seems as though they're obsessed with Alexis Jeffers. That's fine. I lost the last election. But I've won elections here in Nevis too. Yes. You know, I got to divert a little bit. Because I usually hear my good friend Mark Brantley refer to a gentleman as Buster. Yeah. And I can recall one time I told Brantley, boy, I think you should train Buster well. Here's how you train Buster. You put a towel in his mouth and pull on it so as to strengthen his jaw, you know, strengthen his jaw and pull. But I suppose if you put a towel in the other Buster's mouth, you might be pulling more than towel, eh? But anyway, I'm going to leave that because Von Radio is not about that. Let's move on. The point I'm trying to make, some people full of talk. Talk. They can talk good. Talk. But I can tell you this much. when the CCM wanted someone to replace the Honorable Nurse Jane, a lot of people were not found, you know. They were not seen. You hardly could find anyone. All I know, when the opportunity came, I put up my hand and said, listen, I don't have any money. I have a mouth, I have 2 hands and 2 legs, and I'm going to go and work and try and rescue this party. So in 2010, I jumped into the federal election and lost. So I've lost elections. Good thing is that I won the St. James leg. I came back in 2011. I won the local election. I came back in 2013. I won the local elections. I came back in 2015 and lost the federal election by 91 votes. As a matter of fact, let's go back to 2010. I lost by 268. Anybody else would have thrown in the towel and said, boy, that's a Herculean task. But being the work I am, being the person I am, I said, I'm going to pursue further. I believe I can. And yes, I did. I lost in 2015, yes, by 91 votes, but I won the St. James leg. I ran in 2017 and won the local election handsomely. But I want to backtrack one sec. Because in 2015, I made history, you know. The first CCM candidate ever to win a box down in St. Thomas's in Craddock Road. I won the box there, 2015. The same green country that they always talk about. I have good fans down there too, in St. Thomas's. I won Craddock Road. I think I won it by either 4 votes or something like that, whatever it was. But I won the box. And then I came back in 2017, like I said, and won the local election handsomely by 306 votes thereabout. Yeah, history again, never before done. Came back in 2020, oh Lord, went down to St. Thomas's. Came out of St. Thomas's 80 votes behind. You could imagine that? 80 votes behind, almost won the box there in Cat Ground. I won the box in Craddock Road again, and almost won the box in Cat Ground. I think I lost it by 13 votes. They said a group of persons came up and voted in the last couple of minutes that made a difference there. But I'm saying these things because I have a history. I have won and I've lost. Yes, I don't cry foul over a loss. Because I came back in 2022 and won for the first time ever in the history of politics in Nevis. Won Nevis 11. Won Nevis 11 in 2020. And came back in 2022 and won it again. But I lost in December of 2022. You hear me crying? I'm not crying. Still love the people of St. James because, you know, they've been good to me. And whatever happened then can be fixed. But I'll leave it as that. But that's 8 elections. 8. Won 3 local. Lost 1. Won 2 federal. Lost 2. So I have a good record. So whoever wants to talk can talk because you know what? I'll say to Buster and others. They cussing Cleon. Cleon put the name on the ballot and have won. She said something she wrote something and they went crazy about it. But Cleon, you fight your battle with them. That's not for me to fight. I don't have a thing to do with that. But all I'll say is that up in Gingerland, you know, they talk about testicular fortitude. I would say Christine Springett, Mrs. Christine Springett has. She would have put her name on the ballot up there. Got some blows. Miguel Mills did the same thing. Got some blows, but at least he was able to do so. Edric Stanley did. Got some blows. But he had, what they say, kahunas. Testicular fortitude. Who else right up there? Oh, Patsy. Nurse Patsy. Twice. Patsy got some licks, but Patsy runs still. Patsy got guts. Got courage. Same thing with the fella Corey. He ran, got the licks too. And of course, who came after Corey? Oh, Bian Hanley. Even Bian Hanley got more kahunas and more testicular fortitude than the boy, the Carlisle. Because Bian put up a hand and Bian was so happy, gleeful, I want to run. Bian went to take a licks and take it with a smile. And then, of course, a guy left all the way up in Barnescott Mountain I went up to Rolling Mountain. You see what a distance? I don't know if he went across the mountain, the base of the mountain, or he come down Barnescott Road and drove all the way up to Rollins. But anyway, Kennecat went up to Rolling Mountain. He ran there to take a licks like a man. So those who out there talking about who get beaten and whatever, at least some persons are man enough and woman enough to put their name on ballots here in the island of Davis. But partner Buster, I spoke to him sometime and I told him, listen, because he and I does exchange a little pleasantry now and then. We're good AYPA, former AYPA members. And you know the good thing about AYPA? You're taught some good things there. Leadership skills, interpersonal skills. We have some good debates. Listen, we were way ahead of our time in AYPA because we would have gone to conferences, Mount Strat, Antigua, Anguilla, St. Kitts all over. Had some very good debates. And you know what I said to him one time? Your partner, what's his name? Cedric Liban. The first AYPA member to put his name on a ballot and won was Cedric Liban. I asked him, what about your partner? Put on your name, no? Put on your name. I am the first member of the Anglican Young People's Association in Nevis to have put my name on a ballot and won. And the first AYPA member out of Nevis to even enter the federal parliament. Well, let that sink in and rub that in too. So I have a history. I've been working hard all the days of my life. I know what it means. I know the value, the true value of hard work and the true value of representation. So you all could say as much as I want about me. I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay. Meaning, by the grace of God, I'm going to be here. Yeah? And no matter what, when it comes to the island of Nevis, I will defend Nevis any day and defend anything that is going to be of utmost value to the people of Nevis. Any day I'll defend it. Because you know what? I don't have where else to go to live. I'm not going anywhere else. The rest of my life I'm staying right here on the island of Nevis. Nevis have been good to me. Nevis have been good to all of us. And those of us who have benefited from this island, we must be able to reciprocate and put back in something as well. So I say all that to say this, that those who are out there talking and those who have all of them out there, the good thing is that there is a saying, put your money where your mouth is. Some of you need to do that. But we'll continue to work as a government. And I did speak about turning poor people into paupers. They're not happy, really need to check themselves, you know. Because the amount of things that the CCM had to rectify over the years, the monies that have been spent, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to rectify some of the foolishness that the NRP would have done in those 6.5 years. And that is why the people of Nevis continue to vote overwhelmingly for the Concerned Citizens Movement. Yes, we lost a seat, but the bottom line is we are still the government of the island of Nevis. And we'll continue to look after the people of Nevis, just as we did up there in Cherry Gardens. When they went up there and built some houses and substandard houses, people are suffering right up there in Cherry Garden. They were suffering over the past couple of years when we decided that we have to rectify a serious health concern up there. That was the legacy of NRP. Some soak away that they went down about 5 feet, and then after they realized they couldn't go any further, they dumped in some stones, cover it, and said that that's your soak away. Live with that for the rest of your life. People in Cherry Garden haven't forgotten the NRP, you know, because they came there and gave them a bum job, left them with all kind of health concerns over there, and we have had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to rectify those issues. And that is why when we are given the mandate as a people, as a party in government, your job is to ensure that you take care of people. Take care of people that you have put up your hand and said, I'm committed to serve you. Serve them well. And that is why I believe the Concerned Citizens Movement will continue to be the party of choice. Because we have put up our hands and we have said that Nevis is as good as any and better than many. And that is why we're going to keep it that way. The Concerned Citizens Movement will continue to work for the benefit of the people of the island of Nevis, no matter what he said. Because a lot of negativity is being spewed out there. But in healthcare, You hear them talk about the hospital. The hospital will be completed. There are things being done behind the scenes to get that project back on track to ensure that it can be completed. They talk about the Wally Water Taxi Facility. I will say to the NRP, tell me one project that you have done when you were in government that you can consider an income generating project that one can look to and say it's providing employment. I'm not talking about the Four Seasons now because you can talk about that all day. Go ahead, it came under the NRP. But when it's all said and done, right now as it is, the same water taxi facility that they keep criticizing, that has created a number of businesses over there. Persons have gotten into the water taxi business and they're growing. They are employing people. That is an income generating project that is going to go on for years and years to come. As a matter of fact, I was there yesterday and I was looking at the operations and said at some point the government might very well have to extend that pier to accommodate more boats. And I see it in the making. It will happen because persons are now thinking about getting in. So if others are now thinking about getting in, then you'll have to provide the infrastructure to accommodate them. I see it in the making. Maybe a year or 2 years from now, we probably might have to do that. But that is what is happening in terms of an income generating project that the people of Nevis are ever so proud about. But ladies and gentlemen, it is always good to hear what the other side is saying, even though sometimes they talk a lot of rubbish, eh? But I'll tell you this much, they've been going after Premier Brantley, and I'll say this to you, that Premier Brantley, as the leader of this island, I wouldn't want anyone else to be running this island at this point other than Mark Brantley. Because the option, what's the name on the other side there? I mean, I don't know what people would be thinking or would have been thinking. Because when you look at the capabilities, Mark Brantley has shown that he's a leader that have learned from the best, as far as I'm concerned, from the Honorable Van Samry. God bless his soul. But that being said, Mark Brantley has carved out his own leadership space here on the island of Nevis. And when it came to the pandemic, the leadership that was demonstrated then is one that we should always be mindful of and should not forget. Because when you heard his voice and you heard the programs that were introduced in order to ensure that the difficulties that some persons would have faced if not for those initiatives, then of course you got to understand how important his leadership was then. COVID-19 was not an easy time to deal with. It was not an easy period of time. But of course, the leadership demonstrated then. And you know, I'm so glad it was CCM that was in government, yeah? Because when the NRP was called upon to lend their support, they said, not them. Not them. And don't tell me if they were in government, it would have been different. Because what you see in a person is exactly what they are. There was never any intentions on their part to work with the concerned citizens movement to ensure that the island of Nevis was spared the worst. They were hoping for the worst. Perhaps praying for the worst as well. But there were some out there who were praying even longer and harder than they were praying. And God answers prayer. He answered those who were praying to him for the best to happen to the island of Nevis. And with the leadership that was demonstrated, with the prayers that were offered up, we were saved, and saved under the leadership of the Honorable Mark Brantley. So Mark Brantley can defend himself any day. I don't think I have to come here and defend Mark Brantley any day. And I would, but I don't think I have to, because he can defend himself any day. That is leadership that you can trust. Leadership that has demonstrated to the island of Nevis that he has a steady hand and he has the temperament to lead this island. And for that I am eternally grateful, and so are the larger percentage of Nevisians. You'll have opposition any day, but the majority of Nevisians sees it that way. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just a few minutes left, and like I was saying before, we have coming up on Sunday, the convention of the Concerned Citizens Movement down there at NIPAC, and it will start at 2 p.m. for the business session, that is. And of course, thereafter at 4 p.m. we will have the open session for the entire general public, and I'm inviting one and all to come. All who can, come and enjoy and be a part of this event. But of course, the delegates who would come at 2 p.m., your invitations are coming out to you. You know who you are, and well, if you don't get an invitation, you know who you are in St. Paul's. I believe the representative of St. Paul's have done his work. Those of you up in St. John's, I believe the work has been done. So the delegates, I think it's 25 persons per constituency. Up in St. George's, of course, Eric would have done his work. Over in St. James, I'm doing my work. I've been reaching out to my people. And of course, down in St. Thomas Parish, Latoya would reach out to our people as well. So we want you to come and be a part of this lively session on Sunday, the 13th of August, down there at NIPAC, starting at 2 p.m. And of course, after the overall session completes, somewhere after 5, 6, whatever time, we'll have some eats and drinks for persons who would have come. So I'm going to go into my wrap-up phase now. I have just about another minute left, but I want to just once again thank everyone for their support over the last Herbert Beach festivity that was held on the 7th of August. We look forward to another grand occasion next year. And until then, we'll continue to do what is necessary to protect our patrimony, that piece of land down there at Herbert Beach. And you know, before I leave, something just came to mind, because my understanding is that the NRP also had developers lined up to build condominiums and villas down there. But of course, something happened on election day that prevented that. But that was one of the secret, sinister plans that they had. We want development, yes, but those pieces of lands belong to us. We're going to continue to enjoy them. We'll develop the land so that all of us can go there and have some form of recreation. And you see how Penny's Beach have been set up? We can do something similar over there so that we have enjoyment by our people up in the north, and enjoyment by people who come here to visit to enjoy the island. So you have Penny's, you'll have Herbert Beach. Nothing is wrong with that. What's up? It's good. Good. Okay. Well, on that note, I want to end by thanking everyone for being a part of this show this afternoon. It was indeed my pleasure being here. And like I said, I always love coming here to spend my luncheon period. But you know, even though in my luncheon period, I have to take an extended break because I still got to go and get something to eat now because I'm hungry. But it has been fun today, and thank you for listening. Looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible down there at NIPAC on Sunday afternoon for the Concerned Citizens Movement Convention 2023. And I want to thank you once again. I look forward to being back here with God's help next week. Same time at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. right here on the Caribbean's only powerhouse. 860 a.m. and 93.7 on the FM band. Thank you very much for listening. Have a wonderful afternoon, safe weekend, and see you again next week, God's willing. Thank you.
Views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.